Hello, today I will be discussing Christine Tippett's article, Argumentation, the Language of Science. So this article provided a comprehensive overview of research that explores how argumentation functions as a core pillar of science education. Tippett argues that argumentation is more than a classroom debate activity. It is the very process through which scientific knowledge is created, constructed, validated, and communicated. She highlighted how using argumentation in science classrooms doesn't just help students talk about science, but it also helps them to think like scientists and speak like scientists. So, through structured discourse, evidence based reasoning, and collaborations, students develop a deeper understanding, stronger metacognitive skills, and ultimately develop a greater scientific literacy. So there were five key findings that were identified by Tippett within literature on science argumentation. So first, she explained that explicit instruction improves science argumentation. So research by Bell and Lynn demonstrated that when teachers provide structured support, students make more thoughtful, evidence-based arguments. So by teaching students how to use evidence to support their claims, they become more engaged with the content and develop deeper scientific reasoning skills. Second, Tippett highlights the importance of professional development for teachers. There were many different researchers, such as Simon, Enduran, and Osborne, that found when teachers received ongoing professional development focused in discourse and argumentation, their classrooms changed and improved dramatically. So teachers became more confident in leading different kinds of lessons, and students' reasoning improved as well from these changes. So this shows that supporting teachers is not only essential but necessary because if teachers don't feel like they have the necessary skills to guide scientific discussions, the benefits of argumentation won't get to students. The third point that Tippett made was that classroom norms and ground rules are vitals. If in studies like by Mercer, students were explicitly taught how to engage respectfully and productively in argumentation. This structure helps ensure that argumentation is collaborative rather than competitive, which is a key part of authentic scientific discourse. Fourth, argumentation promotes conceptual change and metacognition. So, students who participate in structured argumentation not only improve their understanding of scientific concepts, but also retain that knowledge over time. Tippett connects this to metacognition, which is the ability to think about one's own thinking. When students analyze why they believe something or how they constructed an argument, they begin to also reflect on the learning process of getting to that point, which will lead to a more lasting understanding or retaining that knowledge. And the last point was that Tippett emphasized that authentic inquiry contexts are necessary and key. Argumentation should be integrated into real scientific inquiry, not just an isolated exercise. When students discuss real world issues such as climate change, genetics, or energy use, they see how scientific reasoning applies beyond the classroom and in their everyday life. So, instructional approaches should become more meaningful when it's able to be connected to real life scientific problems that affect students in every sense. So argumentation is very important and it matters because science education must shift away from rote memorization towards discourse based instruction. So when students learn how scientific knowledge is justified and communicated. Argumentation teaches students to question evidence, construct explanations, and engage in reasoning, which are all fundamental in understanding science as an evolving discipline. And it also encourages students to view knowledge not as fixed, but as dynamic and subject to changes, especially as time goes on and things develop. So it also builds thinking skills like perspective thinking and critical evaluation. These skills are not only essential for understanding science, but also for developing informed, scientifically literate citizens who then have the knowledge to be more informed thinkers overall. And when teachers integrate argumentation effectively, They move students beyond memorizing just facts and procedures to participating in the practice of science, where ideas are tested, challenged, and refined. So there were some points that could have been further dissected or discussed within the article, or just could have made it stronger overall. So it did provide a strong foundation, but she did reference the Tolman argument pattern or TAP, which is widely used to analyze argument quality. However, she did not go into detail about how teachers can accurately assess argumentation in the classroom or use assessments to guide learning. Another area for further research would have been the long-term impacts. Tippett notes that there's a need for more studies on the lasting effects of argumentation, but she doesn't really suggest specific methods for how to explore this. And so, um, ending my thoughts on the article, Argumentation, the Language of Science, it serves as a very important foundation for understanding why discourse-centered learning is essential in science classroom. Tippett provided great evidence that showed that explicit instruction, teacher training, and structured discourse all enhance students' conceptual understanding and engagement. Her work also helps to remind educators that science is not just about learning facts and how it is dynamic, but it's also important for students and teachers to remember that learning is how to reason, question, and communicate like science. Like true scientific literacy emerges when students understand not just what scientists know, but how they come to that point. So, as science education continues to evolve and focus on critical thinking, Tippett's article remains a valuable reminder that to truly understand science, students must first learn how to speak the language of science, which is the language of argumentation. So, thank you so much.